Are you thinking about buying property to rent on Airbnb? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about the pros, cons, and big risks with Airbnb. Is it even worth it to own Airbnbs right now? In this video, we're not just going to talk about mistakes to avoid. We're going to be talking about how you can underwrite deals the correct way and maximize tax benefits of the Airbnb. So stick around. Let's get to the show, y'all.
What's going on, everybody? Aaron Trevino here, back in the beautiful state of Texas. We have a repeat guest, and there's a reason for that. We have Justin Ross Ramirez from the Valley. How you doing, Justin?
Hey guys, welcome back to this channel.
Great to be back, and there's a lot of reasons we're back on the show. I know it's been a couple years since. When was the last time?
It's been over a year, at least over a year.
Yeah, at least over a year. I know we did a good video here in one of the Airbnb units. A lot of reasons why we're doing the show today, but as you know, there's been a lot of changes in the economy, so I figured why not have the man himself come on the show to talk about Airbnb.
Side hustles have been really big all over, like YouTube, TikTok, everywhere. People are asking about how to make money on the side because of how bad the economy is getting.
Absolutely, and the economy shifted. The digital space has shifted. We've had a lot of changes the past few years. How are the risks with Airbnb different now than they were years ago?
Well, in 2020, you could just make money anywhere. If you had anything and just had an open space, people wanted to travel and it was easy to make money. Now in 2024, it's a little bit more difficult. It's a lot more saturated. There's a lot of competition, but there's still money to be made if you have a great product.
How exactly do you know if your Airbnb market is saturated, right? So let's say I live in Houston. How do I know if something is exactly saturated or if there is opportunity to grow?
So Houston is very special because it is very saturated. You just search up the Airbnb app. So you look through the app, let's say that somewhere that you want to invest. You go into the app, you search it and say, hey, I want to be near the zoo or I want to be near the hospital. Okay, what's in that area? Am I going to make money? And then you can see all of the available inventory right there in that date.
Absolutely. And how are the risks different now in terms of starting up, right? So with any sort of business, you think there's a startup cost, there's a pay to play, right? So
Yeah.
how is that different from years ago?
So like I said before, it was super easy to jump into Airbnb. Now everything's more expensive. Before you could just rent out a room, just rent a room in your house, an extra space, or if you left your house and said, oh, I want to rent the entire house, people were going to rent because people wanted to travel because they were so stuck at home this whole time. Now people want their own privacy. They want 2 or 3 bedrooms. They want a king size bed. Some places want a pool. They want to be next to things that are going to be able to do things.
So when I am listing on Airbnb, do you suggest strictly going all in, all chips all in on Airbnb, or should I also be on VRBO, Booking.com, or what do you think?
So VRBO, for me in my area in Edinburgh, I have not. I was on the platform. If I would have get maybe 6 bookings a year, that was a lot. It just wasn't anything. And Booking.com, I've had people, tons of people to say, hey, you know what, join Booking.com, but they don't give you the safety that Airbnb does. That that insurance that they're going to pay out if the customer doesn't pay.
So you're more protected with Airbnb.
Yeah, they have $1 million policy. They say it's $1 million. I mean, sometimes it's really hard to get money from them. But in case someone comes into your place, they trash or they steal everything, you can contact them and say, hey, you owe me money because you took my TV. Well, I don't want to pay you. The customer says no. The guest says no. Well, they can go back to Airbnb and say, this is what it cost. This is what was messed up. This is what was stolen. I need the money. So Airbnb will send you a portion of that money to cover your costs for your next guest.
Absolutely. And especially in a hard economy, you don't want to take the gamble of not getting paid back, right? If you have a company that's going to cover that cost if something goes bad, You want that protection.
Yeah, Booking.com does not give you that guarantee, but they do give you, more views to get people to book. Mm-hmm. This place that right here we're in, it cost me about $16,000 to fill up this place, from washers and dryers, beds, tables, everything you can imagine go to a new house. That's what it cost me to get into this one to start up.
And are there any particular amenities that people are wanting? I know you mentioned washer dryer, that's pretty basic, but are there any other smaller things that you find that your guests really want to have?
Wash towels, king size beds, multiple TVs. Now those are things that people want.
Yeah.
You have to figure out your market. I know you're going to ask that. Where I am, I'm 2 bedroom, 2 bath. I'm close to the university. I'm close to Mexico. I didn't think I was going to get this many people from Mexico that I do now, but I get tons of referrals from other guests. But you got to know your location. You got to know how much you want to spend and your amenities. People love pools, but if you're in a climate where the pool's going to get cold in the summer, cold in the winter, you're not going to make money. Here in South Texas, we can get 90-degree Christmases. So it's good to have a pool out here.
Absolutely. And in terms of other costs as well, financially, people think about interest rates. So how exactly are interest rates affecting Airbnb?
Okay, interest rates are really tricky right now. They're really high. I just purchased a property, a fourplex, at a 7.875 percentage rate. It cash flows, but it's a fourplex. Now, if you want to start Airbnb, a whole new process, and don't want to arbitrage and you want to buy in, it's pricey. It's going to cost you, $1,000 more, $2,000 more the payment than it was, 4 years ago. Interest rates are really kicking people's butts. But I tell people it's better to buy now. Buy the house, fall in love with the house, and date the rate. You can always go refinance in the future. You can, but who knows? It took 13 years from the 80s to the 90s to get lower rates. So it can take you a long time of waiting to start making money before you decide, hey, I'm going to wait for a 4% or a 3%. We probably never see a 2% again in my lifetime. Well, you'll never know.
Yeah, it's kind of that weird dance between acting now, I want to wait, I'm not sure, the election, you have all these different things that are coming into play. It's like, what do I do, right?
Well, with the economy, you got to focus on your own niche. You got to focus on, I'm a millionaire already. I'm just the average person that decided, hey, you know what? I paid off my student loans. I saw that there's an opportunity to buy investments, and I'm sacrificing, I would sacrifice my weekends. I sacrifice a lot of things so I can get to where I want to be. The economy is going to go up and down all the time. The S&P 500, I still invest in there. They're going to go up and it's going to go down. Preferably it's going to keep going up over the next 30, 40, 50 years that I'm here on this earth. But you have to focus on yourself and not just the broader aspect of who's the president. Because you can make money when there's a Republican, when there's a Democrat, when there's an independent. Anyone that's running this country, this is America. You can make money here.
Absolutely. And speaking of opportunities as well, how do you educate yourself on Airbnb, right? It seems like there's these videos and there's articles online and, this guy said this guy said that. Starting from square one, how do you educate yourself on how to get started as an Airbnb owner?
Okay, so there's tons of people on YouTube. There are tons of people on TikTok telling you how to make money or how to start Airbnb. You have to figure out your niche and what you can afford. If you have a lot of money, go invest in Galveston, go invest in South Padre, go invest in Kissimmee or Orlando, where you have the built-in, where there's cleaners, there's managers. All you have to do is purchase a property and let that make money for you. And you're not going to make a lot of money, but if you have a lot of cash and you don't want any responsibilities, that's it. And you can go all the way to the broke end, where if you have a spare room in your house and you feel comfortable having people at your home, you can rent them out. Airbnb is a very safe platform. You can they do background checks on people, and you can make that little side hustle grow into a place where you can finally purchase a bigger house or purchase an apartment to make money. So there's tons of aspects to making money with Airbnb. Like I said, if you want to spend a lot of money and go move, if you want to purchase out there in Kissimmee or Orlando or Miami or Austin or outside of Anaheim or LA. If you have money to purchase, you can definitely do it there. And there's, like I said, there's cleaners, there's managers, everything that you ever need, and you never have to see that property again, and they will manage it for you. Or you can go to the low end. I'm right there in the middle. Yesterday, I had a guest. The air condition broke. It was 87 degrees. The vents were blowing out air. I had to get somebody to bring in a window unit to turn into the apartment at 9:30 at night. Get a window unit, turn on the air so they could feel comfortable so they could go to sleep.
Yeah, and those are a lot of the unforeseen issues that you don't really expect to have, but you have to deal with them accordingly, right?
I've seen so much over the years with Airbnb. I've had people throw parties. I've had people never stay here. I've had people, everything in between you can think of. I've had it happen. Yeah. There's nothing that scares me. There's nothing that says, "Oh wow, that's." I can't figure that out. I had someone the other day with one of my long-term rentals. Oh, there's a puddle with the water heater. Hey, you know what? Today's Saturday or Sunday. I can't get anybody there, but on Monday we'll have a brand new water heater set up for you, and we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
You can't freak out with real estate. You really honestly can't. If you think there's going to be there will be a problem there, but it's not always going to be crazy that there's always going to have like a leaky sink or a leaky toilet in the middle of the night. That doesn't always happen, but there's things that do happen that you just have to be ready to invest with.
Absolutely, and that's solid insight, right? Just thinking about, hey, if I live in this part of town or if I'm familiar with this area, that could be my target market, just what I know, right?
Yeah.
That particular.
So I went to school in Edinburgh. I went to Pan Am. I decided, hey, you know what? I want to invest here because I know it's going to grow. There was a medical school, starting back then. I knew there was going to be tons of people from all over the country visiting here to make money and, to go to school. And I really, like I said before, like I didn't realize how many Mexican people that come down here just to shop and go back. And that's been a big bulk of my business. But wherever you're local, that's where a great place to start. Like if you live in a small town and there's nobody there, maybe it's just a room. But if you're in a bigger city like, Tyler or Dallas, outside of Dallas, Plano's going to build a new Universal Studios there.
Wow.
So that's going to exponentially grow that Airbnb short-term rentals anywhere near around Dallas, Arlington. Like the outskirts of Arlington, you can't. There's a lot of regulations, but inside Arlington, you can. You gotta see where you're gonna make money, how much money you're gonna make, what are your expenses, your basic expenses, guys. You have your light, your water, your toilet paper, your paper goods, your cleaning supplies, your internet. Those are the things that you're gonna need to figure out how much you're gonna make money. If everything makes if you're gonna make a profit, you're gonna figure out from the basics.
And how do you look up those regulations for short-term rentals? Because it seems like different towns have different rules, right?
Yeah. So you're gonna call your county, you're gonna call your city. You call your city of South Padre Island, and they're gonna say, okay, well, there's a fee, there's a waiting list, or there's how many people are allowed to have short-term rentals, and they tell you, there's gonna be a $200 or $300 fee every single year. Every city is different. Every county is different. I mean, there's some counties that have no regulations, but there's some towns that do. So like South Padre Island, Galveston, Arlington. You see that now in Austin. There's more regulations. You just have to talk to your city leaders and say, hey, I want to build a short-term rental. How much is it a year? Is there any regulations? No. Okay, well, make sure you always keep on top of that new regulations don't come in. If they do come in, you're going to get grandfathered in, and you're going to have your short-term rental before they change any kind of laws.
Absolutely. And in terms of making sure that you're covered as well, what type of what property insurance do you need for Airbnb?
If you have this basic insurance, if you're in the low end, if you're in the high end, there's companies like Prosper. If you have like a swimming pool, if you have anything that's like high end, 4 or 5 bedroom places that are going to host between 10 to 30 people, you need to get that short-term rental insurance like Prosper. There's tons of them online. They're going to be able to give you, fund you right away. If there's something that breaks right away, they will replace it within a few days so that you can get that money back and you can still make your money on your short-term rentals. So there are short-term rental insurances out there.
And what type of software should an Airbnb owner use? Aside from, is the platform itself good enough, or is there a management software that you would also suggest?
I personally just use Airbnb. There are tons of softwares that you can have, like a little mini boutique hotel where people can download, and they have different platforms. I do it all through Airbnb. If one day they kick me off, then I'm going to lose everything. But either or, I still have long-term rentals. But I use everything on the Airbnb app. But there are tons of them that are off the app that you can use to help you, send messages. You can have more platforms to see. I think there is one that has like 6 or 7 different platforms from like even Google, Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com. There's just tons of them that you can manage through there.
Could you also talk about the potential language barriers that Airbnb also offers? You said that a lot of your clients come from Mexico, right?
Yeah. So this is what's really cool about Airbnb. If I message you in English and you only speak Spanish or German or Russian or any other language, it'll translate it for you in real time. Wow. So you don't have to learn a new language. You don't have to figure out something. It will literally say, hey, hi, welcome to Edinburgh, welcome in. It'll translate it for them, and then they send a message in their home language to you in English. So it does it all for you in that language. Wow. And you don't have, it's pretty accurate. Most of the time I've had no problems with sending a message in English and getting their reply in whatever language they are. I've had people stay from, the Czech Republic. I've had people stay from England. I've had tons of people from Mexico, different parts of Latin America that come down here, and Romanian. Wow. I've never had a problem. They literally translate so many different languages into English for you.
Wow. I think it's crazy to think. I think Romanian is the closest Romance language to Latin, right? I can only imagine what that looks like.
I mean, I don't even have the app does everything, and it translates for you in English. You can take it off. You can click and take off the translation, and you can see it, the language, but you just click on it, and it'll do all of the translations for you.
Wow.
They want to make it as easy as possible for you to get your message across.
Sure. And I'm assuming there's really no excuse for any sort of communication issues, right?
Yeah.
Given that everything
is there.
Yeah. And in terms of identifying the property as well, how do you run comparables or comps for a potential Airbnb deal?
So like me, I'm in a midterm rental price range. I just purchased another fourplex. I looked at like areas where people want to go. They want to go near the mall. They want to go near Sam's Club. They want to go near like entertainment districts. So that's why I invested there, so I can build more Airbnbs, more short-term rentals in that location. Because I see that the people people ask me, they ask you, how far are you from the McAllen Mall? How far are you from the Mercedes Mall? Where are you located, or across the university, or how far is the baseball field? People will let you know why they are coming most of the time. I just had someone book two units for 4 nights each because there's a softball World Series coming along. And they let me know. I told them to have 2 available units there, and they booked those both nights. Wow. 4 nights, both units for 4 nights each.
Huh. Wow. And how exactly do you determine a daily rate for Airbnb?
You got to see where you are profitable, guys. So like if you're profitable at $100 a night, you have to make and you need 10 nights. You have to make sure in that area that you are going to be profitable. Aside from, like I said, your water, your internet, your cleaning supplies, your electricity, you got to see how much you're going to spend, what your rent is in that place, or if you're going to purchase your mortgage, and then how much you're potentially going to make, and how many days you're going to get there. So most of the time, I need at least 10 to 15 nights. After that, it's all profitable to see how much you're going to make. Yeah. So your nightly rate can change. I don't use the Airbnb to like fluctuate for me because I feel like it's too low. I just generally go between $75 to $110 a night, depending on how far in the future it is.
Absolutely. And how exactly are you underwriting and making offers? Are you trying to hit a certain number per month that you're trying to, the offers you're trying to make, or is it more of you kind of take it as it comes?
I'm not I'm not one of those people that get those awesome deals that can say, I put down I offered $60,000 on a $100,000 house and then I got the bid. No, I kind of just I try to look for the lowest price, my price range and the lowest price for the neighborhood. It's not the best property. You always see people say, get the worst property and you can, increase the value. I just try to see what's a good deal. This last fourplex was $379 in an area where they're all selling above $400,000. So, and it's all around the same square footage. You can look at the comps around that area and you say, hey, you know what, this is a deal. The gentleman was 90 years old. He was leaving. He's moving back to Brazil with his family, and he was already offloading his properties because he wanted to sell them to give them to his children for an inheritance before he passed away. They tell you their stories when people are selling their properties.
Wow.
Yeah. Moving from the valley to Brazil, it's kind of crazy.
A lot of times we get really caught up in the numbers and the deals and all that stuff, but a lot of times we forget that there's actually a person behind that. There's a story. There's a reason.
Oh, right? Yeah. I mean, you can look at me. I purchased in 2019, 2020. I'm going to keep these properties for 10, 15 years, and who knows what's going to happen between now and then when I decide to sell, how much equity I've gained, what the interest rates are going to be like. But but it's true. Like these people that are staying with me are paying down the mortgage. They're like employees. They're small employees for me every month, paying this mortgage that I don't have to pay them. They're paying me to stay in a place that's safe and great.
Absolutely. And how do you maximize tax deductions that you get from Airbnb?
Every property, every single door that you have, make sure you keep receipts. Make sure you know what anytime that you get something charged for it, you need to make sure that you have it to maximize your profits. Now, if you maximize too many things, you're not going to be able to afford more properties. It's just how it is. That's if you're not making an income, you're not going to be able to grow. Yes, you can use a DSCR loan, you can use the other things, but the government wants to see that you are making some kind of money and you're not just, using every single dollar to go back into your property.
Sure. And speaking of loans, what particular type of financing do you find that Airbnb investors are wanting to get these deals funded?
So there are two great options right now for loans. There's vacation rentals. So if it's a known vacation location like South Padre Island, Galveston, San Antonio, you can get a 10% down loan. So if it's $800,000, all you have to do is put $80,000, which is a lot of money. I get it. $80,000 is a lot of money. But that gives you an option you can get your second vacation loan for 10% down. Anybody else right now is probably using a DSCR loan. You're going to look between 10 to 15% down. It's an investment property, so you can't move in there, but it's an investment property, and they're going to show that the rents are paying for the mortgage. You're not having to worry about, is this person cash flowing? They'll show that, okay, this property is cash flowing, and in the future it's going to be cash flowing, and it's going to pay off that loan. So DSCR loans right now are like the best thing to do. The interest rates are a little bit higher. I'm not going to lie. They're maybe 1 or 2 percentage points higher, but as long as it cash flows, guys, these companies are willing to give you the money to invest.
Absolutely. And do you also need a pre-approval letter from a lender to even make the offers, or how?
If you got money, honestly, I didn't need a pre-approval because I already have the money, guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I had $100,000 in the account. What are they going to tell me? Oh, you can't get a pre-approval. I personally don't shop with a pre-approval because I know I'm going to qualify for the loan. I'm not joking with you guys. Like, I know they always say, oh, they're not even going to give you an option. If you got the money to do things happen. I mean, but there's always a course of action. Of course, go to a lender, not to a bank. Go to a lender. They're going to give you tons of different options. They're going to be able to say what you can afford, what you can't afford. Yeah, I'm not going to be looking at an $800,000 house if I can only afford $350,000 property. You know what I mean? There's people that love to go to Zillow. I do the same thing, guys. I go to Zillow and just search up and down and around and up and down this house and what I could do here. But if you got to see where your budget is, what you're going to make money, and what you can afford.
Yeah, great insight there. And maybe to shift gears a bit, in terms of ranking and making sure that people even see your Airbnb, right, when they're searching for it, is there a way that you prepare your Airbnb to rank higher, or like does that make sense?
I ask for feedback, guys. I ask for you to rate me every single time. I ask you to rate me. As soon as it gives you that option to rate your experience, I say, hey, thank you for staying in my family Airbnb. Thank you for being here. If you had any problems, let me know before you rank me. Please, 5 stars go a long way. And I'm always at least the top 5% or 10% of my entire area because I ask for the feedback. I ask for those comments.
Yeah, absolutely. And what exactly makes someone a super host? Like, what is? You
have to have a ranking of. You have to have at least 3 stays a year. No, 3 stays in that quarter. You have to have at least 100 nights out of those 3 stays. I think it's like that. And you have to have, I think, between 4.7 or higher. If you have that, you can get a rank of superhost. It's super easy to stay a superhost. It really is. I think right now I have about 447 reviews already, and a majority of them are 5 stars because I ask, hey, you just stayed at my property. It's going to take you 2 minutes to fill this out. 5 stars really going to help me, and I stay constantly at the top.
Absolutely. And maybe to shift gears again to you and to what what are you looking forward to really for the remainder of this year on the Airbnb side? I
would love to continue to grow. There's tons of options right now. There are points where I'm just like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want more time to myself. But at the same time, this is a business. This is money. This is a money making business. If you put in the work, you're going to get an outcome of money. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm working for this restaurant and nobody's coming into my restaurant. No, Airbnb is sending people to you. They're filling your place up. You have to give them a good experience. You have to make them, you have to show hospitality. You have to make sure your place is clean. You have to make sure your place has, check-out times, check-in times. things have to go right every single time. And if you have the right kind of people helping you in the background to get it done right, it's going to work and you're going to make a lot of money.
Speaking of getting on the, getting that team together with the right people, where do you start, right? Maybe I'm new to town, I'm new to a market. What sort of team, how exactly am I building that team to make sure I have a successful Airbnb?
You definitely need good cleaners. Good cleaners, number one. Number two, number three. Good cleaners, you got to have at least one or two. You need a good AC guy because here it gets hot in the valley. So you need to have somebody on call 24/7. Hey, can you show up at 9:30 at night to help me fix this AC? Or, you know what I mean, at any time. You need to have a good maintenance man. You need to know to be able to do simple things like how to change doors and things like door knobs and just basic stuff. Have a good little team to reach out, and if they don't work the first time, or if they're not, hey, this is what I do. I'm a short-term rental, investor, and I need you to, fix air conditions. What is your rate on the weekends, or what's your rate during the week? If they're good, if they're reliable, you got to keep them in. You got to keep getting them work. Hey, come clean my the AC next month. You got to keep giving them work to make sure that they know that you're willing to work with them. The bigger you get, the more job opportunities you have for them.
Absolutely. And is there anything that you haven't said you really just like to hit home, or what are you specifically looking for aside from growing?
Like I said, if you put into this business, you'll get out of this business. Like if it is work. Airbnb is work. It is not just like I'm just gonna let things happen. If you put in the work to make some money, you will definitely make money out of this business. There are people that jump into this business thinking, oh, I just want to design this place, and I love to design, I like to spend money. And then they realize, well, people trash simple things. People take salt, pepper, and shakers. People take things that they're not supposed to. People dirty things they're not supposed to. People, you have to have enough skin to say, hey, you know what, let that go, or let's charge the person for this. But if you put money into this business, you will make money out of this business.
Absolutely. Well, it's that's been a lot of great insight. Where I know that we will have the links to your business in the show notes, but aside from that, where can we find you?
So you can find me on YouTube, the Millennial Wealth Builder. You can definitely find me on TikTok, Ross RZ. You can. I have already 4 Airbnbs already. Aaron's already seen most of them. They're pretty exciting. I'm online. I'm on Facebook. If you have any questions about Airbnb, definitely answer. I'm always available pretty much of the time. Like to send me questions. I really in generally just like helping people grow because I know what it is to not have $100 to restart the light. I know what it is to be broke poor. I know what it is to be poor. I know what it is to have a lot of money. You know what I mean? I've been there. I've been to the point where I could go buy a Mercedes-Benz cash, but I'm not going to buy one because I know a Honda will be fine to make more money in the future. And there will be a time where I told myself for my 40th birthday, I'm going to buy a Porsche. I'm building that right now so I don't have to worry about, how am I going to afford it? I'm building the money now so that other people are paying it for me.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Justin. Well, it's been great sitting down with you. I know we've covered a lot of ground, just different parts of the Airbnb business, right? Risks, how it's changed over the years, and a lot of details that maybe people aren't even aware that they're thinking about, right? But that are really important to learning the Airbnb game.
Yeah. Definitely, guys, if you're willing to jump this year, 2024, 2025, into Airbnb, go for it, do some research, but do something. There are tons of people on the sidelines will never do anything in their life that'll just say, hey, I want to do this, or how do I afford this, or I start with reading a book, start with seeing YouTube videos, but decide, hey, you know what, I have a plan. In December, I'm going to start my first Airbnb, or I'm going to rent out my house when I'm not there, or I'm going to do something. Airbnb is not the all of making money. There are so much opportunities in real estate. You can see tons of his videos where he interviews tons of people in different aspects of real estate and making money. But do something, guys. Do something with your life to say, hey, you know what? I want to make a side hustle to better myself, because a job is never going to make you rich. You have to figure out how to make your money work for you.
Absolutely. I think that's a good way to end the show.
Yeah.
Justin, again, it's been a pleasure. We've covered a lot of ground, different parts of the business, and it's always great chatting with you. Your wealth of knowledge, guys. As mentioned, we will have Justin's info in the show notes to our video today. Again, signing off from Edinburgh, Texas, and we will see y'all next time.